One thing I was talking about this morning was essentially cultural practices that we could use to try to reduce the amount of plants or weeds that we're having to control with various herbicides. We were looking at narrow rows. The canopy is going to form sooner in narrow rows, looking at higher populations of the crop, in turn again reducing the emergence of glyphosate-resistant water hemp. Another thing that was or a point that we made this morning was that with glyphosate-resistant water hemp, Bob Hartzler has data here showing that in soybean, 320,000 seed per plant is produced if the water hemp essentially emerges with soybean. So if we have one plant that escapes control that is glyphosate resistant and that plant produces 320,000 seed, and then we go into corn the following year, Bob was essentially showing that 2,000 seed per plant would be produced if the water hemp emerged at the V4 stage of corn. Taking 25% emergence of the initial population this morning, we were showing that you'd rapidly go from having one plant, one glyphosate-resistant plant that escaped control, to having 160,000, over 160 million seed per acre. And essentially all herbicides would be ineffective in that system, because if a herbicide was 99% effective, you would still have failure just due to the sheer numbers of resistance that would exist in the field. Thus the importance again of preventing seed production. Another thing that we've done with Palmer amaranth in the southern U.S. is we actually introduced one plant into a field, and what we found is within 3 years, if you introduce one glyphosate resistant plant or you have one plant that escapes control, you will completely lose that crop within 3 years unless alternative measures are put in place in that field, just due to the sheer number of seed that are being produced each year from those plants.